It is exactly 12:34. We're on to our final interview for the morning, or rather the afternoon. Marion Wagner is our guest, and she is a director at Breadline Africa. She is also the outgoing CEO. And let me kick off right away. A very good afternoon to you, Marion. Welcome to the program. And why are you leaving your post as CEO, but you still remain on as director?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you for having me. Yes, I've been with Breadline Africa now for 11 years. I've loved it. I've loved having an amazing team and enjoyed the position. But I'm very passionate about a project I started in 2023, which was to start replacing pit toilets at schools. And I've been doing that a lot in with my current job, and I just feel that I could really drive this project more effectively. And I think, it's also every organization, it's good to have change and to bring in new blood and fresh thinking. So it became opportune that with the incoming CEO, I could step out and really drive the eradication of pit toilets at schools.
Wow. And not a moment too soon. We just heard in the week there was a horrible tragedy, a child having lost his life. I'm not sure it was a girl or a boy child in a pit toilet at an ECD facility, or I should imagine a township version of an ECD facility, which obviously wouldn't have had all of the structures you expect in an ECD. But before we continue, and I'm sure that's very close to your heart, before we do continue talking, let me just, for the benefit of our viewers, Marion joined joined Breadline Africa in 2014. She comes with very, very strong corporate experience following a 20-year career at Shell International leading global projects. Wow. she, okay, I'm hearing a lot of feedback here. That's okay. I'm just alerting my technical director, technical producer there that there's feedback here. You later served as COO at Umthombo Wesizwe and Deputy Director at African Solutions to African Problems. How does African Solutions to African Problems tie in with Breadline Africa?
They're both organizations that are passionate about helping, particularly communities in rural areas. They're often unseen. They say rural poverty is unseen poverty because you don't see all the suffering and the hardships that they face. And African Solution to African Problems is an amazing organization that provides support to particularly women in areas like Matatiele and Eastern Cape to become self-sufficient, to run their businesses, with financial acumen. And it really is supporting people at grassroots level.
For those of us who don't know about the work Breadline Africa does, what is your mission statement and the core work your organization focuses on?
Statement is really quite simple. What we do is provide innovative and sustainable infrastructure solutions through collaboration with partners. And the whole purpose is we want to enable quality education. We want to stimulate young minds and bring about positive change. And through providing children with dignified spaces to learn and grow, particularly at ECD centers and schools in under-resourced communities, where often you see very unsafe structures. You spoke about the ECD center now. Many of the ECD centers we support are literally built out of wood and tin. They're a shack transformation, which is amazing in that they're getting children off the streets and giving them education, but it is also, these structures are not safe and they really are not conducive to learning.
So, we already touched in the introduction to pit toilets. I made a reference to the fact that there was, one tragedy too many as far as our little people are concerned. And you indicated, I could just hear by the way you responded, that this is something very close to your heart. and pit toilets do remain a major safety concern within our communities. So clearly, with you stepping down as CEO, you are going to be addressing and finally delivering a new structure, I should imagine, improving the whole scenario regarding pit toilets. Huge task because we have countless pit toilets in our country.
Where we hear government saying they've done a lot of work in the pit toiletry, which is amazing. We believe there are still 3,000 schools out there that are still suffering from, insufficient or unsanitary or basically pit toilet structures that pose real danger, particularly to young children. So, open holes is often where the children are falling in. But even the structures that the toilet, they were built 60, 70, 80 years ago, they're starting to crumble. So as many children as died in pit toilets have also died from structures that have fallen on them. And children should not go to school and fear the toilet or fear dying in the toilets. And it's a huge issue around not just the safety, but also the hygiene factor. So many children get sick. And then particularly the girls, a lot of these pet toilets structures, they have no doors. So for young girls, they have no way to change. Every month they miss a week of school during menstruation because there's no dignity for them. There's nowhere for them to go. So it's a huge issue. The toilet's linked to so much in terms of the time children are spending in school. It's incredibly important for one of our kids to finish school.
Can you walk us through the process, Marion, from identifying a community need to possibly designing, funding, and finally delivering a new structure, or perhaps even improving the current structure?
So the way that we work is we receive referrals. So either if it's a school, then often we get referrals from the DBE, from circuit managers, and at ECD centres, often the principals of the ECD centres or their supporting partners, other nonprofits that are working with ECD centres, either to get into registration or feeding, and they refer a site or they apply to us. What we then do is a site assessment because we really need to understand what are the needs at that particular site, what are the safety risks, the learner numbers, access to water, if we're doing kitchens or toilets, access and land conditions. And then from there on, if we see that all of that, meets our criteria, then we look at starting the design, layout, and the costing. If we are doing toilets, then we align with the DBE norms and standards because you have to have a ratio number of toilets to number of children. And then the next step for us is securing funding. So, once we've got these sites that are vetted and ready to go, then we start looking for funders. And then that's either donors or corporate partners or foundations. And then we start, as soon as the funding's secured, we start construction and installation. We use approved and experienced suppliers. And then we do handover and training, hygiene education if it's toilets, and then we do monitoring and evaluation so that we can really track the long-term impact, the difference that the structure has made. So it's a full cycle aimed at sustainability.
Sounds awesome. Let's take a break. We'll be back with you in a minute or two.
Investment and advisory services from an award-winning firm? Look no further than the Belmont Mayer Group, your gateway to unparalleled investment and wealth management. At Belmont Mayer, we believe in the art of wealth creation, a meticulous process fueled by our unwavering commitment to excellence. With a focus on providing elite alternative investments and quality advice, we also pride ourselves on maximizing value for our esteemed investors as seen through our consistent outperformance. Your financial success is our top priority. Join us at Belmont Mayer and experience the difference firsthand. Ready to embark on a journey of greatness? Contact us today. Reach out to the Belmont Mayer Group on 078 786 1698. Call or WhatsApp or email us at info@belmontmayer.com. Elevate your financial future with Belmont Mayer, where every detail matters.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
World-class financial services only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic Sharia and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
Make a conscious choice. Sip for change and support Palestine Drinks Africa. With every can, you help end the genocide and stand in solidarity with Palestine. Choose between our original or sugar-free options available in the case of 24. Every sip is a step towards justice. Every purchase a powerful message of unity and support for the Palestinian cause. Contact 082 888 1440 or 082 7739 556 today and be part of the change. Palestine Drinks Africa. Sip for change. Liberty for everyone.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
Welcome back, Marion Wagner, Breadline Africa, and your organization has completed hundreds of projects across the country. Which recent project stands out for you and why? Putting the toilets aside, of course.
I think we have, today we're launching and next week we're launching as well. I think for me, it's every launch is actually almost the same, and I would love to say if anybody is interested, come and join me. It's such an uplifting experience. At an ECD center where children are crammed into a small, dark classroom where there's little ventilation and it's freezing cold in winter or boiling hot in summer. The teachers are sometimes having to use paraffin stoves amongst the children because there's no kitchen facility. And when we do a new prefabricated insulated classroom with light fittings, with windows, with allowing the air and the light to come in, the transformation when the children first see it, the excitement on their faces, the sheer joy of having something that is so smart and so new looking, where they can roll around on the floor, there's no bits of broken glass or nails on the floor, where they can play, where they can see the world outside, it makes such an incredible difference. And for me, nearly every time we launch, it's just the experiencing that the pleasure of the young children and the relief of the teachers, because you can imagine for teachers as well, learning in a clean, large environment where the children can move and take their coats off and be able to see the books or the things they're doing without, having to sit in a dark room or a damp room is, it is so uplifting. If anybody would ever like to attend, and we're doing a launch in the area, we're doing 2 now Northwest, but I would be always happy to try and arrange something.
Amazing. I often say it takes a really special kind of people to do this type of work, to be involved in this type of work. So God bless you. When working in under-resourced communities, what are some of the biggest challenges you encounter during the planning and construction and possibly even implementation stages?
Yes, there are a few. Obviously, water scarcity is one, and of course, the more rural you go, the less access there is to water. So if you are putting in sanitation or kitchens, we have to bear that in mind and find a solution that will work, a dry solution. The accessibility is an issue when we're working in some of the rural areas in Eastern Cape, for example. You've got to think very carefully of the solution because some of those roads you won't even get a truck with materials up there. So we've got to think about the type of building that we use, depending on the type of terrain. So some of the challenges there are, construction costs will obviously increase, but the other challenge we've got is red tape. So you've always, red tape will always come in, permissions, building plans, approvals, who owns the land, is land leased, do they have zoning permissions? And for principals that are doing the most amazing work, caring and educating young children, where often like up to 70% of the parents may not be able to pay the full fees, and yet she's having to manage everything. And now she's got to apply for zoning permission. Now she's got to get building plans, and it's incredibly onerous for them. So these are the challenges, and of course the other biggest challenge we face is the waiting lists. Resources never stretch far enough, so we have so many applications and so many requests, but we can only go at the speed at which we can get income in.
Heartbreaking for you, is it not? Beyond infrastructure, Breadline Africa also supports communities in other ways. What additional forms of assistance do you offer, and how do these strengthen long-term impact?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Infrastructure is really the foundation. It is the part that the principals can least afford. It's the most expensive part for them to get to registration is the infrastructure. But for impact, you need more than just the infrastructure. So together with our partners that I mentioned earlier that we have the most incredible collaborative relationship with, they also support learning materials and equipment. The other really important thing is if you're thinking about where we want to go 2030 with universal access for children to ECDs and quality education, is training for the principals and practitioners. That is so important. And then in addition, you can't teach a hungry child. So nutrition support is critical. For many of our children, the only meal they get at the day is either at the ECD center or at the school. And then we also support with winter and Christmas food parcels to make life a little easier for the families. And then the other thing we have going on right now, today, for the whole of this week, is our annual seaside outing. So we take children from ECDs, from preschools. These are children that may live, like today, that may live only a kilometer away from the beach, but have never been to the sea. They've never seen the sea. They've never experienced the beach because there are other priorities at home, and when money is an issue, parents don't have a chance to take children to the sea, or the parents may be afraid of going to the sea or don't know how to swim. So what we do is we take busloads of children, safely monitored, with Shark Spotters Association, with lifeguards in place, with volunteers, and we give children a day at the beach. And it's a day of building memories and hope for these young children. They learn that the sea has to be respected, but they're allowed to dip their toes in with safety. They can build sandcastles, and they get completely spoiled with incredible food and donuts and presents. So we even have Santa Claus arrives on the beach today and gives each children a parcel with goodies and essential items as well. And it's so important for that child. It's a memory that they never lose, and it's something that they can aspire to. And the other thing we do as well, beyond infrastructure, is the monitoring and evaluation, because to improve the quality of what we do, we have to track outcomes, and we want to make sure that young children are school ready. So we need to know that together with our partners, working on the nurturing care framework, making sure we touch all elements of what a child really needs, is the only way that we're going to get that child school ready.
Wow. When you talk about the day out at the beach, at the sea, I think it just sounds so magical. You giving that child an absolutely magical memory, which he or she will carry for the rest of their lives. And I think that is so truly special. Let's move on then and talk about partnerships with government, with donors, because you keep referring to your donors, and without them, this work would never be possible. Also, local organizations. Does this help expand your reach and maximize the number of children and families you can assist? I should imagine it's crucial.
Essential. And non-profit organizations are so much more powerful when they work together and they each stick to their own unique skill sets. So for Breadline Africa, we're very much, and have been for the last 32 years, about building safe infrastructure. But the partners are the glue that does everything else. So our partnerships are really key. They're local organizations. They help with critical elements, as I mentioned, the Nurturing Care framework to ensure these strong outcomes. But again, we can't do anything unless we get the resources. So donors are relationships with our donors. Some of them, we have donors that have been with us for 32 years that
Wow.
also in UK and Ireland that they will just give maybe £5 or €5 a month. That makes such a world of difference to us. And then, of course, government is a key player as well, because, government, so with the schools, identify the highest risk schools for us as well and align, we align with the national priorities. So it really is, it's a collective effort because there's no single organization can solve South Africa's infrastructure backlog. And the reality we saw recently with the release of the Thrive by 5 results, where they looked at ECD centers and the learning outcomes. And the reality is that 60% of all 4-year-olds who are attending an ECD center are not developmentally on track. So if you think that only possibly 40% of the population are able to get to an early learning program, that even those that are in there are not developmentally on track. So the statistic really highlights the need for different organizations with the DBE, working together, and so developmentally on track means that they're measured against a whole lot of different criteria where cognitive development and literacy and if they're not on track, which means that they're going to battle when they start school. And this is even higher. So 60% of 4-year-olds are not developmentally on track at the moment. And it's 82% for children that are not enrolled in an early learning program. When they start school, there isn't the resources and the support to help those children. So getting children into quality ECDs is absolutely critical for the future of South Africa. And the need for every child to access quality early learning. It's more than just the ECD programs. It's really the whole inclusive system. And I think the government has a plan to get another 1.3 million children into early childhood development programs by 2030. So that's really about improved infrastructure. It's about getting centres to get to registration for government subsidies. It's stronger partnerships across government, business and civil society.
Marion, to wrap up then, for listeners who want to contribute, what are the most meaningful ways individuals, companies, or communities can support Breadline Africa's work?
Ways, really, donations help us. That's, being a nonprofit organization, every contribution helps us to replace a dangerous structure or to build a classroom. We are always looking for companies to partner with us. So companies can fund whole projects or just in certain provinces, certain areas, could just fund a classroom or a kitchen at an ECD center. And I think it's also, for people can help by just advocating the importance of getting children into quality ECD centers, raise awareness about the unsafe structures, the needs of vulnerable children, particularly in rural communities. So every person in their own way can help restore dignity and safety. And, every project starts with someone choosing to care. And there are millions of South Africans who care and are able to influence the future of young children.
We salute you for undertaking all of this work. May you grow from strength to strength. Marion Wagner, and you, of course, are with Breadline Africa. And I'm so glad we've had this chat today, because sometimes one forgets, in the busyness of everyday life, that there are organizations like yourself that's doing amazing work, and we need it. We need for the country to turn with the people like yourselves and your organizations behind us to make it happen. God bless. Thank you. Go well.
Thank you very much.
It is exactly 12:59, and that means it's wrap-up time for me, Julie, only on Mid-Morning Talk. I certainly hope you've enjoyed all the discussions we've had on air today, as much as I've enjoyed interacting with our guests. From me, take care on the roads and have a wonderful rest of the week till you and I get together again next Monday at the same time. As always, Khuda Hafiz from myself and the team right here on Salam Media.